Hello there. Let us look into my crystal ball and see what we can see. Oh, I see something red. Very, very red. No, it's not my candles. It's coming towards me. It's getting closer and closer. Wait a minute. I can see clearly. It's Janice Adams. Yeah, she's got a sunburn all over her cheeks. She's roasted. Yeah, that's what that was. Here, wait a minute. There's something else in the middle of the road. It's coming towards me. No, it's moved to the left. Oh, it's moved to the right now. It's back in the middle. Oh, I see clearly now. It's Angela Wedlock in one of her driving lessons. Oh, it's fading. It's fading now, fading. I see a castle. Yes, it's a castle. Edinburgh Castle. It's inside my crystal ball. You can see it. Look, it says Edinburgh Castle. Anyway, what I want to tell you today, well, today or tonight, it's about a story about a knight. He went out for the night and he was totally wrecked. But here he lost his way going home. So he had to try to find a place to stay for the night. So he ended up outside Edinburgh Castle. So he chaps on the door, you know. It's a big chap, you know. And the guy shouts down. It was a knight up above the castle, shouts down. Friend or foe? He says, oh, it's a friend. He says, what can I do for you? He says, I'm looking for a place to stay the night. Well, the knight on top of the castle shouts down to the knight. Oh, there's no room here the night. Oh, he says, I'm soaked and I'm pissed and I'm lost. And I'm really desperate, he says. Well, the knight on top of the castle says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go and see the king and see what he says. So he goes and sees the king and then he comes back. The king, he says to the knight down at the door, you know, at the drawbridge. He says to him, well, the king says to me, he might have a place for you. You'll need to go up and see him. Oh, he says, that's good of you. So he lets him in. He says, thanks very much and that. He says, have a good night and that. Ah, same with yourself, good night. So that this night went up, you see the king. The king's standing in front of the fire, isn't he? Standing in front of the fire, getting heated up, you know. So he says, come in, come in. Oh, the knight come in and the king says, oh, it's one hell of a night out there, isn't it? Oh, the knight says it is, oh, it's a hell of a night, it's pouring down. If I stay out there any longer, I'll rust. So anyway, he says, I'm looking for a room tonight, somewhere to stay, right, you know. He says, well, I've only got one place for you. He says, where's that? He says, where's that? He says, it's in my youngest daughter's bedroom. He says, you could maybe stay there the night, you know. He says, oh, that's very kind of you, very kind of you. He says, but one thing, he says, I don't want you touching her. Do not touch her or else off with the head. Oh no, he says, oh, I promise you I'll no touch her. He says, I'll no touch her. He says, how much is that going to cost me? Oh, he says, a couple of quid, you know. Ah, fair enough, a couple of quid. So anyway, they had a wee late night sort of supper. So the knight headed off to bed, says to the king, right, I'll see you in the morning. Ah, he says, see you in the morning, good night. Remember what I said? Oh, I'll remember what you said. So here the morning comes. The knight comes down with a big smile on his face. The king says to him, you had a good night last night? The knight says, oh, it was a brilliant night last night. In fact, it was the best night of my life. He says, oh, absolute brilliant. I says, and for $2, he says, it was worth it. It was worth it. And anyway, the king says to him, I hope you didn't touch my daughter. And he says, oh, he says, no, I didn't touch her, but I'll tell you this. He says, she's bloody frozen. The king says, I know, we bury her in the morning. Over it and out. Have a good night.